Kingsley was born on January 13th at 3:42 a.m., weighing 7 pounds, 2 ounces, and she was 19 and a quarter tall.
You stole my heart, what is it that you do?
LAYLA! Hey beautiful people, welcome back to my channel. My name is Rebecca Vieira and I cover all things healthy living, grocery hauls, mom life, and more. But today I think might be the biggest video that I've been so excited to film. I have been waiting to do this until I felt right about it. And yeah, today I'm finally going to be opening up about my experience with my first home water birth. Yeah, I'm going to go into all the details with you. I'm also going to add all the footage that I did get from the actual birth, but unfortunately or fortunately, everything went so natural and fast and quick that none of us remembered to press play on the tripod camera that I had set up. But thankfully, my amazing doula whipped out a camera at the very end and was able to film her being born and some of the footage afterwards as well. So I will share everything that I do have. And also I do want to preface this with, however your baby comes into this world, whether that's at home, at a birthing center, at a hospital, via C-section, vacuum, episiotomy, however your baby gets here, is absolutely amazing. There is no other special calling than growing a baby inside of you and having them come into this world birth side. I know a lot of people don't have good birth experiences, which is why I am putting this video out, to have share a positive experience with birth. I was hesitant to do this because I don't want to make others feel bad or any which way, but I also want to be able to share my light and my truth and my experience. So Kingsley is my second daughter. I had my first, LAYLA, who's now 3.5, in the hospital. I originally with her wanted to have her at a birthing center or possibly home birth, and I opted for the hospital for a couple of reasons. Biggest, I guess, would be fear. You know, I didn't know anybody else who had had a home birth. Also, my father is a, OBGYN, and he was 150% against me having a home birth, and I didn't want to have like my family against me. And anyways, I decided to have a natural hospital birth, and it wasn't a horrible experience at all. It was just completely different. I just wanted to preface with that, because I did have a previous birth and the experiences were completely different. So with that being said, Kingsley, I knew since I had LAYLA in the hospital with no complications that my second, I was definitely going to be having a home birth. I went to a birthing center and I worked with a team of midwives who were all amazing, and I got to know each and every one of them. And that way, if one wasn't able to make it to the birth, the other one would, and I wouldn't ever be without. And they had an OB on staff as well. And I definitely recommend a doula, no matter what kind of birth you're giving. I had the same doula with Kingsley as I did with LAYLA, and she, changed my birthing, everything. She taught me so much between the two, and she does this thing when you're going through contractions where she puts this pressure on your back, and I'm like, if there's anything that I would take away, that is all I need. Just her and her pressure points on my back, and I would be okay. Let's talk about Kingsley's birth. Kingsley's due date was January 10th, 2022. And Kingsley was born on January 13th at 3:42 a.m., weighing 7 pounds, 2 ounces, and she was 19 and a quarter tall. And she was just absolutely perfect. Had the Braxton Hicks contractions on and off after about 25 weeks. I would get them here and there. And what that basically feels like is just like a tightening ball here in your tummy. It just feels like tightening. It doesn't hurt or anything. It's just like a little tightening feeling. And that would come and go. A week before my due date, I started experiencing prodromal labor, which is when they're like real contractions, but they're not intense. and they don't intensify in strength. So I would experience these contractions, and so I thought like maybe I was going into labor because I didn't have that experience with my first. You know, you want to wait until you get to 511 or 411, which is basically essentially when your contractions are lasting more than a minute, and they're coming between 4 to 5 minutes, every 4 to 5 minutes, and that's been happening for over an hour. And that's typically when you're considered to be in active labor. So I experienced that, but it was prodromal labor, so it wasn't intensifying. It lasted up to an hour, but they weren't at all painful. They were just regular, the beginning stages of contractions, where you can definitely feel them, but you could talk through them. You can, keep on going. You might, be like, oh, that was a contraction, for sure, but it's not like, I wouldn't say painful. Now I did experience a lot of those round ligament pains, which is like those shooting crotch pains. And that can be super painful. I experienced that, prior as well. And that's just your body prepping itself for labor. It's doing the work ahead of time. I would much rather have, a week of prodromal labor where they're coming and going and nothing is really intensifying, and have like a short, quick labor, like is what it typically my body does, than having a long, 12-hour, you're in full labor. Oh, wow. Yeah, I don't know how some women do it. So, because with, both of my births were on the shorter side, less than 7 hours. So yeah, with Kingsley, once my due date hit on the 10th, which was a Tuesday, I started doing the Miles circuit, which is where you do 3 different positions where you hold them for like 30 minutes. I'll leave a link down below on what the Miles circuit is, but it's very mild. It's very helpful to position your baby if they are, not in the right position, to help them, go down into the birth canal and get ready to come out. So it really helps them get into the correct position. So her due date comes January 10th, and I have a little bit of prodromal labor, but nothing serious. I realized she's probably gonna come in the next few days, but at this point I'm ready. I'm walking every day with LAYLA. I'm exhausted. I'm not, sleeping as well. I'm waking up frequently, peeing every 5 seconds. You want to eat food, but you can't fit very much in there. And you're just like, for me, I just like am super uncomfortable at the end. Like, oh, I'm ready. And then on the 11th, I thought I was going into labor because I had the 511 that I experienced with prodromal labor, but I thought it was, possibly active labor. I was like, wow, maybe I'm just going to have, super easy, nothing's going to be, super intense. So I called my midwives and my doula. They came over, and this was at like, I think my midwife came over at like 1:30 in the morning on Tuesday, the 11th. And she checked me. I was at 4.5 centimeters, and which is good. I was progressing. I was 70% effaced, and she said, try to get some rest, get some food, and if things pick back up, call me. And so I did. I got some sleep. I woke up at 6 a.m. I'm like, I gotta get this baby out. I did the Miles circuit again, which is where you're in the different positions. You do the side laying, you do elevated, you do stairs where you walk the stairs. You can also do curb walking. So a lot of walking. After your due date, you can do all the things like having a lot of intercourse helps because of the sperm. It helps you get more effaced, helps your cervix lining thin. I was drinking several cups of strong red raspberry leaf tea, doing curb walking, the Miles circuit. I was ready for this baby to come. So yeah, I woke up at 6 a.m. Now it is Wednesday, the 12th. I'm tired. I'm ready for this baby to come out. Contractions are nowhere. I don't have anything going on. It's just quiet. It's like the calm before the storm. So I was, trying to make sure I was keeping up on my calories. We went to this new park with LAYLA, and we walked around.
Today I am 40 weeks and 2 days. I thought I was going into labor yesterday. Had the midwife come over and my doula because I was at 511. But it stalled after a while. So they checked me. I was at 4.5 centimeters, 70% effaced. I went back to sleep at like 3 a.m. till 6. And I've just been having irregular contractions since then. So just playing the waiting game at the park with my little one and husband, trying to get this baby walking. And we'll see. Hopefully things pick back up here, and I'll keep you updated.
And just tried to like enjoy. I knew it was gonna be like the last day or so with just, you know, me, Nick, and Layla. And so I wanted to spend as much quality time with Layla as I could. I was really nervous about the transition with her, you know, her getting a new sister and going from, you know, being the all-star, only child, to having a baby sister. And I had done a lot of prep work with Layla. We had watched several birthing videos, we read several books, I explained it to her. At the time she was 2.5, and she's very smart and articulate for her age. So she definitely understood everything. We watched the birth. She wanted to be able to feed me, give me my water when I was in the birthing tub. So I wanted her to be a part of it, but I also wanted her to be like taken care of so that I didn't have to worry about her, because I knew if I had to worry about Layla, it would, you know, stop my progression. And my best friend was pregnant at the same time. She was supposed to be the one to help me watch Layla, but we ended up having babies on the same day, which is crazy. So, but it all worked out because I think my body waited until she was like sleeping to like fully kick it into gear. And that's what happened. So we spent the whole Wednesday just relaxing as a family, walking, eating, hanging out, going through pictures. I'm pretty sure it was like definitely the week prior was nesting like crazy, cleaning everything, organizing everything, going through all the spices, throwing things out, big time, you know, and setting everything up. And so that day I just kind of took it easy, tried not to stress out about it, because, you know, at the birthing center, they give you 42 weeks before, then, you know, you can't have them at home, you gotta go to the hospital. And I didn't want to have any type of inductions if I didn't need to. That night after Layla went to bed, I started getting contractions again, and I was like, I need to get some rest. I'm gonna try to sleep through these. I was staying in contact with my midwife, who got called to another birth, but I had a backup. So I got to choose like who my top midwife was and who my backup was, but they were all like top picks. Like I was great with all of them. So it all worked out the way it should. I put Layla to bed and I laid on the couch in the side laying position, and I was like feeling the contractions coming. I told Nick to get some sleep, and so he went to bed. And then I came up later and I had a feeling that my water was gonna break. I just had this intuitive feeling. So I put a towel down before I went to bed. I probably went to bed around like 10:30, and then I woke up to a pop and a gush, and it was my water breaking. And I knew exactly what had happened. I woke Nick up and I was like, oh, my water broke. Time to call everybody. Because I knew with Layla, once my water broke, things started getting serious. So I guess that's just how my body works. Not everybody's water breaks. I think only 20% of women's water actually breaks, you know, prior to going into active labor. So my water broke, and I knew, oh my gosh, we need to get everyone here because things are gonna go quick, which they did. So I went to the toilet and let the rest of my water come out. Oh, and I also forgot to mention, I lost my mucus plug a few times the week prior. So my body was doing all the work, you know, prior. And I had lost my mucus plug like, I think 3 times. So I woke Nick up. I told him, you know, to start getting everything ready. Because I had previously given him a list of his tasks to do once I start active labor, which is blowing up the birth tub, which we had already blown up the night before when we thought I was going into labor. So he just had to refill up the air. And then, you know, he had his list of like, you know, getting, you know, my hypno music going, getting the diffuser going, turning off all the lights, getting water and snacks and everything ready. And so he did amazing. He did so good. Like I definitely felt supported. We had done a lot of prep work. You know, I told him what I wanted, and so he was just so supportive. Not once did he ever say he didn't want to do a home birth. And actually, he was very very, very supportive about me having a home birth. He thought it was a great idea. He loved the idea of us not having to drive to the hospital or me being pregnant. Nobody likes that. Typically, when you know you're going into active labor, when you have several bowel movements, like one after the other, because your contractions are going and pushing everything down, so your colon just clears out. So I had that experience, and I remember that happened last time too, like right after my water broke. It was like, okay, we're clearing everything out, we're getting ready, it's about to go down. And so I actually had watched so many videos and talked to so many, women about, different ways to labor. Because when I was in the hospital with Layla, it's just, you're stuck on the bed. I just was like a clam. So I wanted to do things differently. And I heard that laboring on the actual toilet can be very helpful. And it was. I did a lot of laboring on the toilet, where you're just sitting there and you're breathing into the contractions. Like, breath work is like the most important thing to just keeping yourself in your body and keeping it open. Because as soon as your mind like tenses up, then your body tenses up. And just keeping your face open and your hands open, and just trying to keep your body and your mind in the most calm state possible, and letting everyone else around you know what your preferences are, what your triggers are, what you don't want, what you do want. I had already had those talks with my doula and my midwife and Nicholas about what I wanted and what I didn't want. I wanted the lights dim. I wanted lots of massages and back pressure. I wanted, snacks ready. I wanted liquid IV on hand, as well as water, as well as coconut water. I wanted 3 different beverages available at all times, Anyways, so it was amazing. And so I did a lot of labor on the toilet. Okay, so my water broke at 12:34 a.m. And then I had Kingsley in the birthing tub, and Kingsley was born at 3:42 a.m. So she came out in less than 3 hours after my water broke and I was in active labor, which is pretty quick. At some point, my doula got here, and her and Nicholas were like putting things together in the birthing tub, and she was checking on me, and she just has this amazing voice that just instantly calms me down. Yeah, I remember just like staying in the bathroom and laboring in there a lot, and then coming on the bed and laying on my side and just doing some deep breathing, and Jen really helping, my doula really helping me with the, pressure points on the back, and just, saying all the sweet, nice things to me, giving me all the motivation, but also, knowing when to be quiet and letting me just birth on my own. And then I went back in the bathroom, and I was laboring in there for a while, breathing through, and then transition came, and it was really quick. I think my transition was like 20 minutes. And I remember thinking, okay, I got to keep it together for a transition. I don't want to just tense up and everything, because then the baby won't come and it'll stall. So I had my birthing ball up here, and I got on the birthing ball, and I took my strongest, most intense contractions. And I like to refer to contractions as waves in my head, because contractions sounds like, you tense up. So waves, right? It's really helpful to change that, mental part. So I wanted the really strong, intense waves to be on the birthing ball, and just like rolling and going with it, and listening to my birthing music blasting, and just in my body, and just breathing through them. And Jen with the pressure, and Nicholas holding my hand, and I'm just in it, and it's intense. It's really, really intense. But when you've done that previous work with your mind and your body, and you just drop in and you just let it all go, and you go along for the ride, it's so much better than clenching up, which is what, I did the first time. Okay, so yeah, I took my strongest transitional waves on the birthing ball and just hunkered down, like, oh. And I must say, like, the first time I remember screaming a lot, like high pitch, and I don't think I was very vocal this time. I was more grunting, like, ugh. Like, it's so much more helpful to have deep, like, pushing down with your voice down into your body, not up in your head, but down into your pelvis, down into your uterus, and just ugh, ugh, like that, you know? And then I think Genio is like in transition, and they're like, we need to get her in the birth tub, or else she's gonna have the baby out, and my plan was to have her in the water. So they quickly helped me get into the water, because once you are ready to push, you don't want to be moved. You are there, set in stone, where you're at, typically. And you'll see in the footage that I do have that the water was very low, and my midwife was telling me to put my butt down because the water, like, they still were filling up the birth tub, so there wasn't that much water in it. It was pretty shallow. So I was like really having to like get low in the birth tub. But it felt so amazing once I got into the water. It really, really helped with transition and just breathing. And then pushing time came, or breathing down time came. With my first, I had horrible experiences with pushing. My OBGYN was called to another birth while he was doing my birth, and I just remember him like yelling at me to push when I didn't need to push, and I pushed so hard and I blew up my eye sockets and had horrible hemorrhoids after. Anyways, it was not a good experience as far as pushing goes the first time. So I wanted that to be different this time. The first time I had horrible 3rd-degree tearing that took like 6 months to heal, but that's besides the point. I wanted it to be different this time. So I knew I wanted to breathe down and, you know, not listen. I told everyone, don't tell me to push. Don't tell me anything. Let me listen to my body. And that's what I did. Once I got into the water, I knew it was go time, and I just only breathed down and pushed, breathing down when I felt it, you know. Listen to your body is what I'm saying. Listen to your body, trust in yourself. Always, you know, have a backup plan. And, you know, I had my go bags ready to go. We knew what hospital we were going, what OB I would have if we needed a hospital transfer. I very much am aware of like being safe is top priority, having baby come out safe is top priority, and if we need to go, we can go. And I was really expecting at some point for me to be like, I'm ready to go, I can't do this, but that actually never happened. It was a way better experience than I thought it would be at the end of the day, which is crazy to say. Like, that's my truth, is that it was perfect. It couldn't have gone any better. Well, unless I had the camera, you know, that's the only thing that I regret from my birth, is that no one pressed play on the camera. But that's okay. If there's ever another one, I will have all the cameras set up, or a camera person. So I wanted to make sure that my daughter Layla was there, because we had talked about it. I wanted her to be a part of the birth experience, to see what natural birth looks like, that it's not like a stigma, that, you know, it's a part of life. So you'll see in the footage, I grunted because I felt the head coming. I grunted, get Layla. And my doula ran to go grab her. And as soon as I saw her, then with the next contraction, the baby's head came out. And I felt the head. And I felt that I had torn a little bit, but it didn't hurt. I think when you're in the water, like that ring of fire, you don't really feel that, because I didn't really feel that ring of fire. It was just like a lot of pressure. And I was, you know, breathing down. And yeah, my midwife said, keep your butt down, because when you're having a water birth, you know, the baby's head comes out first, and you want to wait until your next contraction to push the body down. A lot of people, you'll get freaked out because the head's out and you want to get the body out, but you have to wait for the next contraction. And in the video, you'll see it was a long time. I timed it. It was 1.5 minutes that her head was out before the next contraction came for me to push her body out. So I knew that would happen. So that's why it's really important to make sure that you are fully submerged in the water, because the baby doesn't know the difference. They think they're still in the womb when they hit the water, because the water is warm. It's like the same temperature as inside your body, and their lungs do not get activated until they hit the air. So the air is what activates them to take that first breath. So as long as you're still in the water, they're totally fine. So it's not like your baby's gonna drown or anything. And I knew that she needed to make that turn to go into the birth canal. So you'll hear me say in the video, oh, she turned. And then I pushed her the rest of I breathed her down the rest of the way, and her body came out. It was like an out-of-body experience. I remember, and that was like the most vivid time, is that 1.5 minutes when her head was out. I had this out-of-body experience where I was like looking down at myself giving labor, and I was like, you're about to meet your baby. The head is out. All you have to do is wait for that next contraction, and you're gonna pick your baby up and pull her up to her. And it was just like so euphoric in that moment. That was probably like the best moment for me, if I had to recap, was that minute and a half of knowing like, oh my gosh, she's coming. And so then that next contraction came, and I felt her turn in the birth canal, and I pushed her out. Her shoulders came out, and I scooped her up, and I put her on my chest, and there's no better feeling. There's no better high. There's no better ecstasy, euphoria feeling in the world than reaching down and grabbing your own baby and putting her on your chest. And then hearing her take her first breath and her first cry. Oh my gosh. I just like, I'm gonna like tear up, and like, I'm just like sweating and just even thinking about it. Like there's no better experience than that. I don't know if I was just called, my calling is just birthing, but oh my gosh. I know, I could just like put myself back to how I felt then, and it all just comes rushing back. Whew. So yeah, then she was born. Perfect. She came out, and I remember looking down at her and thinking, oh my gosh, like that was one of my biggest fears, is that how am I gonna, I love Layla, my first, so much. How is it possible to love another baby that much? How is it possible? And my heart is just so full with her. But as soon as she's born, my heart, literally, I felt it grow, double in size, to encompass and love her just as much. And I just remember looking up and seeing Layla, looking at the baby, and they had just woken her up. It was 3 a.m, so she was like disoriented and like didn't, like she was still half asleep, but then like she realized what was happening, and you know, she reached down to touch the baby and kissed her, and it was just the most magnificent, magical, majestic experience that I've ever had. And just watching her connect to Kingsley, and looking up at my husband, who watched me go through all that. He said he couldn't really see because he was behind me with Layla, because I told him, you know, once Layla's in here, like she's your priority, Jen will take care of me. And it just all happened perfectly. And yeah, she was born, she was on top of me, they checked her, she was perfect. And you know, the funny thing about giving birth, like after you have that experience, you're like, oh my gosh, you know, you're ready to like go snuggle up with her, and then you're like, oh, I have to still deliver the placenta. You know, I always forget about that part. And so when you're in the birth tub, you have to like stay there. I mean, I guess you could get out, but it's easier to just stay there, and as far as cleanup part goes, and just, you know, birth your placenta out. So, you know, I was holding her, I got her to her first latch, and you know, I started the breastfeeding process as we were waiting for the placenta to come. I think it was about 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes, and then the placenta came, and I pushed that out, which is like uncomfortable. So yeah, starting breastfeeding helps your placenta come out, because when you breastfeed, it triggers your uterus to start contracting, which actually is pretty painful, I'm not gonna lie. That all went well, the placenta came out. They put the baby on Nicholas skin to skin right here, and Layla was sitting right here watching them. And then they transferred me to the bed to check me out. I did need to get stitched up. I tore right in the same spot that I tore last time, so I reopened that, which is pretty common when you tear the first time. Then they brought the baby over to me, and she still was attached to her placenta. We waited until all the blood, you know, went back into the baby, and then Nick cut the cord, and Layla was sitting there watching everything, just in awe of the whole process. And she got to hold the baby, and I mean, there's nothing better than you have your baby, and then your bed's right there, and you're just snuggled at home, and you don't have to go anywhere or do anything, and everyone's there to just take care of you. It's amazing. I was just on a birthing high, you know. Oh, I can't believe I just went through that. I did all that. I did it. And that was my experience. It was beautiful. I will put in all the footage that I do have for you guys to see.
I lose my breath whenever I see you. is it that you do? My life was great till you added colors. Like the moon needs the sun, we don't care about the others.
You're doing amazing.
You set my world on fire. You're my heart's desire. I just wanna love you, just wanna hold you, just wanna be with you till we grow old. Please tell me you'll stay or take me away. I want you for myself every single day.
Keep your bottom down.
Set my world on fire. You set my world on fire.
Nice and slow. With that next one, the baby's gonna be out. That's all the way. That's all the way. Layla, go.
Life was great till you added colors.
You ready to be a sister, Layla?
Moon is the sun, we don't care about the others. You set my world on fire. You're my heart's desire. I just wanna love you, just wanna hold you, just wanna be with you till we grow old. Just tell me you'll stay or take me away. I want you for myself every single day. You set my world on fire.
Oh, she turned. Come here, baby. Grab your baby.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god, we did it, baby. We did it, baby. You are so amazing. We did it. Oh my gosh, baby. Oh. We have towels and stuff to We did it, baby. Give mommy a kissy. Oh my gosh. Hi, Kingsley. You are so good, baby. You did so good. Oh, that was tough. You did amazing. I love you so much. Beautiful girl. I love this. Look at this. She's perfect. I love that we got her. I love that we got Layla. You were so loved. I'm so proud. No, that's not. Can you believe it? Say welcome. Say welcome to the world. Say welcome. We did it! You did! I don't think that I got any pictures. Thank you guys, you were amazing. You were amazing.
Yes. She is great. She sounds great.
You can let her just smell it and. Good job, Layla. Oh, is she gorgeous?
That's your baby sister. Hi, Kingsley.
You're so gorgeous. Amazing.
Yeah, but you're a big girl now. So you could drink your own milk.
Oh, she's sucking on her hand. Oh my God, is that cute? Look at this corn. Oh my goodness.
Give me love,
Face.
give me all your love, oh, 'cause I want you. No one else makes me feel
Kiss
this
mommy,
way.
give her
Don't know
kisses. You're
what
such a
you
good girl.
do. Hold my hand, could you hold my hand? Look me in the eyes.
And then we're gonna put our clothes on.
You and me, yeah, that's all I need, and I'll be alright. I'll be right here. I swear that I'll stay here with you. Hold me closer. I wanna stay here with you. All that we have is each other now. I promise I won't leave your side. Be who you are and you'll be enough. If you're giving me your love, giving me your love. All that we have is each other now. Promise you won't leave my side. I hope who I am is enough for you. If I'm giving you my love, giving you my love, love. Tell me what you wanna do. I'll do anything. As long as I can be here with you, everything's alright. I'll be right here. I swear that I'll stay.
Already 9 months in, 9 months out. I hope you all enjoyed my home birth story, and yeah, it really was a blur. Like, I went through all the details that I could. I remember certain parts very vividly, but the rest of it is like, you're in another dimension. You know what's going on. It was a minute, it was a year, all at the same time. Okay, y'all, here she is. This is Kingsley Elizabeth Vieira. This is my little bundle of joy. I cannot believe she's already 9 months. It's insane how fast time just flies. If you have thought about home birth, or if you've never met anybody who's had one, you know, I used to think it's just like what hippie people did in the woods, but it's not. Like, it's a real thing, and it is magical. It is a blessing. It is a calling, and if you feel called to do so, I just encourage you to do all of your research, ask the right questions, make sure you definitely work on the mind and spirit part as well as the body. I am just really passionate about birth, whatever that looks like. You know, just bringing babies into this world healthily. Feel free to ask me any questions, leave any comments. Did you love it? Did you hate it? What do you think? I would love your feedback. I would love if you liked and subscribed to our channel that we are trying to grow. And hopefully we'll see you in the next one. So, peace out. Hi! My little home birth baby. Yeah. I love you. Great.